Okay, we're going to get started here. It's a little late of a start. I apologize. I, for some reason, could not get into Zoom right away, so I'm a little bit of a late start here. But welcome to week 2, everyone. Hopefully you guys are getting my feedback from week 1 and going through everything. I did see a lot of really good stuff from week 1, so great job. Just keep up the good work and the momentum going forward. We will be getting into pretty much the main part of our project, which we will be building upon in the next few weeks. So this is the important part in regards to getting a great start for week 2, week 3, and week 4. We will be putting all of your brand identity pieces together. So you will be, I will be evaluating your work and giving you feedback, and you will be kind of revising as you go along. All right, let's go forward here. Since we got a late start, let's get moving and grooving here. My computer is super slow today for some reason. We're going to go over some announcements, psychology of color, the CRAP design principles, and if time allows us, we're going to look at the 4 color relationships, which is complementary, triadic, analogous, and split complementary. We'll also be doing a demo on your assignment 2 and assessment 2. I like to go over this every project step by step so that you guys can kind of see how to approach the project, and it clarifies a lot of questions that you might have in regards to each project. So hopefully that will help you out going forward. And I know a lot of students send me questions about projects all the time, and I can kind of tell that, if you were in the live lecture or listen to the live lecture, because some of the questions can be a little bit of a tip off. So just kind of be aware, just make sure if you can't make it live in the lectures to always review have time to listen to the actual lectures in the live session area. That will save you a lot of time and headache for sure. All right, so let's go forward here. Due dates, you know what? Might not be able to open up some of my, and just kind of had a realization here. I have my Adobe Creative account might be expired, and I might have to, I have 1 day remaining, so that's good. So I'll have to get that going here. Okay, that's good. So I can at least do the demo today and have that figured out tomorrow. Okay, so all assignments and assessments are due by Saturday by midnight for full credit. Communication regarding late work is key in this course. This will save you missed points. Make sure you're letting me know what's going on if you're going to be late. And don't forget, there's always a grace period a week after the due date. And so you can turn in work within that grace period, although it's, you're going to be having the 20% taken off in regards to the late policy, but at least you can get some points in there. Your original discussion post is due by Wednesday before midnight. 2 responses to student discussions are due by Saturday by midnight. You must post on at least 2 different days, and late discussion posts will not be accepted past the Saturday deadline for the week. We kind of went through that before. This actually is not, this is, let's see here. Yes, this is correct in regards to the 1 section of class. So everybody meets on, I have 2 sections of this class, and we're meeting on Monday from 12:30 to 2:30, and that's Mountain Time. If you're Eastern Time, that's 2 hours past the 12:30 mark, so you're meeting at 2:30 instead. For the 1 section of class, our multi-sessions are Tuesday from 6 to 8 a.m. Mountain Time, and the other is on Thursdays. I believe it starts at 12. You can check your times there. And they're basically, the multi-sessions are not mandatory, but they are open for students to come in with assignment problems, questions, or one-on-one tutoring with me. So you can pop in there if you have any questions. And this will give you ample time during the week to get the assignments done. If you need any extra outside help, again, the Student Success Center is open with tutoring available. No appointment is necessary. And don't forget, we also have a learning coach in our class that's assigned to our specific course. And and I just posted her schedule and contact information to week 2 announcements. So go ahead and check that out if you need extra assistance. Okay, before we actually get into the psychology of color, I wanted to go over your discussion post this week here. So let me stop sharing my slide and let's go into your week 2 learning objectives, and we'll get all that fun stuff going here. Okay, so we're going to be in week 2 this week. Our learning objectives are differentiate between spot, Pantone, and CMYK color models. So we're going to be able to tell the difference. Identify and apply the correct use of swatches and color libraries. Discuss the role color plays in the big 4 design principles: contrast, your CRAP there, contrast, repetition, alignment, proximity. Analyze how color is used to create consistency in a print campaign. Identify and apply correct resolution for print output. So all of these learning objectives is what you guys should be pretty much learning by the end of this week, week 2. So that's a lot of stuff. If you want to go ahead and review this how to find your style and graphic design video here in week 2. And don't forget, you guys have reading material too, that if you go to your modules section, don't forget you have lynda.com access portal here. You also have your vital source ebook here as well, okay? So you can check that out. And in week 2, let's go to the live lecture area here. Live session, I should say. In week 2, you have a required watch this first part 1 video. It's about 53 minutes. And then you have your part 1 and part 2 of those required videos in there. And then my lecture after today will be posted here. So you're going to have 3 separate videos here to review. Very helpful. Definitely something that you need to review before going forward with your week 2 work here. All right, let's go ahead and go into the discussion for week 2. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is discussing the role color plays in the big 4 design principles for this discussion. You can go ahead and read the background information before you get started. I'm going to go ahead and look at the prompts here. So visit this website. So you're going to click on this website here and be sure to scroll down. There are 60 wonderful examples here. First, for your initial post, you're going to choose one poster design from the site. You're going to take a screenshot of it and embed it into your initial discussion post. You're going to describe how color contrast and repetition was or was not used to create impact, what mood was created by the color choices, and how would different choices have affected the overall design. So you're going to click on this. Let me go ahead and click on this link here and make sure it's visible to you guys. All right, and go ahead and scroll down here. Choose one that you think you want to talk about. Why, kind of what drew you in, what works about it. Talk about the color relationships and how the CRAP principles of design are working for each one of these, or for the one that you choose, I should say. So let's say you want to do this one. You can do a screenshot. If you're on a Mac, you can do a Command-Shift-3, and you'll have this little anchor points here. Oh, I should say Command-Shift-4. That gives you your little crosshairs, and then you can take a screenshot of this. So you just want to draw kind of like a selection around just the image. You'll hear a little camera shot, like you took a picture, and it's going to go ahead and save it on your desktop as a screenshot. And that's what you'll upload for your discussion to embed in your discussion so that everybody can see it. They don't have to click on a link or have to download a JPEG or PNG file to look at it. So go ahead and embed it in there. It's really easy. All you have to do is go ahead and hit reply and start your post. Hello, everyone. Blah, blah, blah. This is my chosen poster. And then all you have to do is click on embed image, although your images should be in your image file here. Let me see. Mine's a little different on how I go about this. You might have a files in here that you're going to upload it to. I think it's different on yours. See, mine's a little different. Mine's here. And I have images as well up here. So I can upload my image into my files. If you upload your image into files in this area, then once you upload your image into your files, let me cancel this because it looks different than mine. You can then click on embed image and then choose Canvas and go into your files and choose the files that you put that in there. So you can actually put it in one of these folders or create a folder to put it in and then select it. Okay, I'm going to cancel this out. Mine looks a little different, so it's a little hard to show you, when the perfect steps that I go through, because you see it a little bit differently in regards to your navigation bar over here. Okay, so it should look like this. Nicole started out this post really in a nice way by showing her poster and having her name in here, and then also her response. That's a good example. Okay, so you're going to choose one poster from the site. You're going to take a screenshot of it, embed it into your initial post, and describe how color, contrast, and repetition was, or maybe not, maybe was or was not, where am I at here? Was or was not used to create impact. What mood was created by the color choices? So think about the mood that it's setting. Is it mysterious? Is it exciting? Use a lot of adjectives there. And how would different choices have affected the overall design? Maybe instead of, maybe say, if they would have used red, it would have came off a little bit more of a aggressive color for what that was all about, whatever the topic of what was showing. So, and that's kind of an example of that. You can see an APA formatted discussion post, what it's supposed to see, how it's supposed to look here, if you have any questions about that. But make sure for your citation, you might use articles that describe the big 4 design principles. So you might support it with saying what contrast is, what is repetition, what is alignment, what is proximity. How does that tie into the example that you're showing? So you're pulling in the facts about each one, and those facts can be pulled in from other site sources outside of, of this classroom. So you would cite where you actually found that source. Okay. When looking at your fellow students' discussion posts, you might discuss how all 4 design principles were implemented to create a successful design. In addition to contrast and repetition, consider where you see alignment and proximity used. What was their impact on the overall success or failure of the design? If you were to change the design in any way, what would you change and why? Support your answer with the design principle that it relates to. So your initial and reply post should work to develop a group understanding of this topic. Challenge each other, build on each other, and always be respectful, but discuss and figure it out together. So just make sure you're hitting all the reply requirements as well. Your main post has to be a certain amount of words, 150 plus. You have to have at least 1 APA citation and a reference, as well as 2 follow-up posts of 50 plus words. Responses can be addressed to both your initial thread and other threads, but must be your own words, no copy and paste. Each reply is unique, no repeating something you already said, and in substantial nature. Remember that part of your discussion grade is submitted on time, 20%, using the proper grammar, spelling, etc. So 20% per post. Okay, so go ahead and get that started. Just the sooner the better, just because you have some time to have other people respond on your post. All right, let me know if you have any questions about that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go forward with what I was talking about before, and that is the psychology of color, of logo color. Here's an interesting fact here. According to research compiled by web design and marketing company Web Page FX, you might have heard of them, maybe not, but people make a subconscious judgment about a product in less than 90 seconds of viewing, and a majority of these people base that assessment on color alone. That's pretty powerful. In fact, almost 85% of consumers cite color as the primary reason they buy a particular product, and 80% of people believe color increases brand recognition. So color is huge in regards to a design element. And what's neat about color is there's no verbal part about it. There's no image showing you something. There's no copy or words telling you something. It's just color. So that's how much color impacts us in our culture. And different cultures they see color in a different way too. So we have to really be very, very conscious of how powerful color can be, the effects of color, and how you can use it, appropriately for the best outcome for your projects. So very, very powerful key component in your design elements. All right, as we go forward here, I just want to look at the basic primary colors. So we're going to look at red, yellow, and blue, and just kind of hit upon some of the different topics in relation to how red can affect us in a culture. So we have personality and emotions, politics, marketing, and chakra. Chakra, that's, if you're unaware of that, that is actually a practice done in the holistic health market industry, I should say, where it's more of a natural way of balancing your health. So it's kind of like Reiki and all of that holistic type of medicine where they're kind of focusing on you know, non-medicine type things where that's more of a holistic part. So chakras are your 7 nervous systems within your body, and you focus on each one of those, and they all have different colors based on where they're located in your body. So that's just a little background about that. You can look it up. It's kind of fascinating. I got into that a few years ago, but very cool. So red, in regards to primary color, the personality emotion, so it evokes strong emotions. It encourages appetite. So if you were, you know, obviously wanting that part of that to come out, that's the main goal of your brand. That was, you know, that'd be something that you might want to think about using red. It increases passion and intensity. And then the red rose symbolizes love. So all of that kind of ties into the love and the heart, and evokes strong emotions as far as the red color is concerned. Politics worldwide represents socialist parties or communists. In the USA, it's used for Republicans. In marketing, it increases heart rate, used by restaurants to stimulate appetite. Creates urgency, often seen in clearance. Used for impulsive shoppers. I don't know about you guys. I am an impulsive shopper. I am guilty of that. And I know when I see something catches my eye, like a red clearance tag or sign, I go straight for it. I mean, one of my favorite stores to shop in is Target. And what is their main color in their logo, right? Red. So that's funny. Okay, chakra, root chakra, located at base of spine, related to survival, safety, and physical self. So it kind of all ties in some sort of a way in regards to how red affects us. Here's some red logos to kind of look at. Mainly red logos. Some of them are reversed out in white, but use red, you know, in a lot of their brand identity pieces. There's Target there, Kmart, Netflix, Heinz ketchup. Interesting to see. All right, yellow is the next color of the primary colors we're going to take a look at. So personality, emotions, increases cheerfulness and warmth, causes fatigue and strain on eyes, makes babies cry. So if you have a baby, if you're doing their baby room, and it might be something that you might not want to put in their baby room. A lot of yellow in their room, at least. Stimulates mental processes and nervous system and encourages communication. Politics, it represents liberalism, and marketing represents optimism, youthfulness, used to grab attention of window shoppers and shows clarity. And the chakra, it's the solar plexus chakra located in the upper abdomen between navel and sternum, related to personal power, will, and self-esteem. So that's kind of interesting, psychology of logo color. There are some logos that use yellow mainly in the logo. Some of them use combination, but for the most part, these are the yellow ones that I pulled together. Best Buy, Denny's, McDonald's, all the big ones there. IKEA. And then the last one is blue, personality, emotions associated with water and peace, most preferred by men, represents calmness, serenity, curbs appetite, known as the cold color, increases productivity, used in office settings. Politics worldwide represents conservative parties. In the US, used for Democrats. Marketing, often used in corporate business because it's productive and non-invasive, creates a sense of security and trust in a brand. The chakra is the throat chakra, base of throat, relates to communication, truth, and self-expression. It's all very interesting in regards to that. Here's some blue logos. You see Facebook, Twitter, a lot of social media ones here. LinkedIn, Pepsi, JP Morgan, Oreo. There's Walmart there. some colors, some logos using the color blue. So very interesting when you look at the psychology of logo, colors within logos, or what logos use in terms of color and how that kind of reflects upon their brand. Again, we're going to go over the principles of graphic design. Since we're talking about this in the discussion, it's always good to kind of touch base with each of these. Contrast. So if two elements are different, make those differences striking. Here's a good representation of this Mad Men graphic here, illustration. It doesn't have to only relate to color, though. Color is a big part of it, but you can also think of it as size relationship too. So if you think of a thinner font versus a thicker font, you have more contrast with the thicker font. So just kind of an example of that. Repetition, use repeated elements to direct, organize, and structure. You might be using this in your brand identity system coming up here. I don't know. Kind of think about that when you go forward. Alignment, line up elements to create visual structure. Alignment is key in a lot of things that you guys work on. And it helps you organize the information, especially if it's a lot. If you're working on a brochure and you have a lot of information, a grid layout is the best way to go because you can align all of your elements together so that it's easier to read and follow. So you're organizing that information in a way for the viewer to be able to say, not be confused and give up reading it because it's hard to follow. Proximity is a tough one to get, but, all in due time, as far as understanding what it is. Clump together related elements so that they're spatial relationships organized and emphasized. Just kind of pulling everything together to unify them in different sections so that it's not all running together. Some graphic design tips and tricks. Something that you guys should know already, limit the number of fonts on your page. You have a disconnect when you use too many fonts. You want to keep it consistent. So, don't use more than 2 fonts. Typically, that's the number you want to kind of avoid going over. Text on top of high contrast background is difficult to read. When you have, it's just that whole, it's hard to read because, the colors aren't really working together to make it readable. It kind of hurts your eyes. KISS, keep it simple, stupid. This is something that you learn even after you graduate. You're going to be refining all of your work and kind of seeing the ways of, okay, I don't have to just keep shoving more stuff in here just because I think it needs it. You'll be kind of learning the process of editing out stuff so that it's simple and more beautiful. So simple can be beautiful. You don't want it to be boring, but you want it to be, unique and memorable, but you don't want it to be too overcrowded and over-designed. Colors, limit your colors. Just like with typeface, different fonts, you don't want to go too many colors because then it disconnects in regards to the whole message. You want it to have a color theme. So pick a color scheme and stick with that. Keep it consistent. If you're doing a brand identity piece for other, if you're doing like a letterhead, a business card, and an envelope, you want to make sure that color scheme is consistent. You want to make sure the typeface is consistent on each, because if it's not going to look like the same brand and it doesn't go well together. It won't unify together. Stand out. Make your designs unique, distinct, and easily recognizable. Think Nike, Apple, Volkswagen, simple and recognizable. So those are the key things. All right, so let's talk about spot versus process colors. So a lot of students kind of get confused about this, and it's understandable because this is the printing process, and you're here to learn all of this stuff. You will be, when you're in the industry itself and you're working as a graphic designer, you will be working alongside, hopefully, maybe printers. You'll be talking to them at least, and you will be, kind of learning through that process as well, because it's just, sometimes we can't teach everything that you need to know. I know when I graduated from college, I learned a lot after getting out there and working with a printer and them kind of showing me the way as well. So, but spot color versus process color, the reason why you need to know the two, because they're completely different. So let's talk about spot color. So colors that are created without screens or dots, such as those found in the Pantone matching system. So if you ever heard PMS, that stands for Pantone matching system. And you can see the little swatches up there on the slide. That is a Pantone matching system book. And that's something that a lot of, any graphic designer has, agencies have, that you can kind of look off of, based on the colors that you're using in your design. And they're referred to in the industry as spot or solid colors. So you might hear somebody or a printer say, okay, well, are there any spot colors or solid colors within this? So that's what they're referring to. From a palette of 18 basic colors is basically what you have, and each of the spot colors in the Pantone matching system is mixed according to its own unique ink mixing formula developed by Pantone. So you probably mixed yellow and blue paint to get green in your youth. So creating a Pantone spot color is similar in concept, but with the added need for precision. So each color in the system has a unique name or number followed by either a C or U. So the letter suffix refers to the paper stock on which it's printed. So if you see a C next to the number, it's representative for coated paper. So that's what the color will actually look like on coated paper. And if you see a U, that's for uncoated paper. So, and they do look a lot different, and that's why they have the two showing, because, you might be wanting a brighter blue and it's not on coated paper. So when you see it on uncoated, it's very dull looking. It could be. So you might want to kind of try to match it the best you can with your swatches that you have. Also created without screens, Pantone metallic and pastel colors are considered part of the Pantone matching system. So you can print metallic and pastel colors. You can't do that with process colors though, only spot colors. So this is what we're talking about, spot colors. So Pantone matching system, you can look up metallic and pastel colors for print, which are pretty neat. Due to the gamut of the 18 basic colors, some spot colors will be cleaner and brighter than if they were printed in the 4-color process described in the next slide. So spot colors are commonly used in corporate logos and identity programs and in 1 or 2 3-color jobs. The reason being is because if, especially if you have a big client that's paying a lot for their brand and their logo, they want it to look consistent on all of their pieces, their brand identity pieces, throughout any type of print material, even on the web. So you want to make sure, you can't use spot color on the web, but you can use spot color in print. So you want to make sure you go with the spot color process. It's a little bit more expensive than a 4-color. But what's nice, the pro of using spot color is no matter what, you'll get the same color, no matter what. So that's kind of the advantage for that. Process colors. So now we looked at spot colors, so now we're going to discuss process colors. And the most common method of achieving color in printing is referred to as CMYK. So you have the 4-color process, which could be described as 4-C. You might see that process, or even people just describing it as process. Okay, so somebody might say, this is a process color job, and that's kind of what that means. To reproduce a color image, a file is separated into 4 different colors. So the CMYK, C is for cyan, that's more of a blue, M is for magenta, and Y is for yellow, and they have the black represented as the letter K. So during separation, screen tints comprised of small dots are applied at different angles to each of the 4 colors. The screen separations are then transferred to 4 different printing plates, 1 for each color, and run on a printing press with 1 color over printing the next. The composite image fools the naked eye with the illusions of continuous tone. I don't know if you guys ever looked at a newspaper before. You can really tell on a newspaper if you look at it, even without looking very close. You can see the dots that represent the image that's being printed on there, because it's a little bit of a looser dot. The paper in newspapers is very thin and sucks in the ink a lot quicker than regular paper. But if you were looking at a magazine, you might not see those dots unless you use a loupe or magnifying glass to actually look in there and see the little dots that represent that image. Now with process color, that's what you'll see, the dots. But with spot color, say if you're looking at a logo that's used with spot color, say it's a Pantone color, and you take a loop or a magnifying glass to look at that, you're not going to see those dots because it's one flat color. So that's the difference. Process colors are represented as percentages of cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. Varying the percentages offers thousands of color possibilities. So when 4-color process printing is used to reproduce photographs, decorative elements such as borders and graphics can be created out of process color. This helps to avoid the added expense of an extra plate needed to print each spot color. So in this process, you will be, when you go out and actually are working on projects, you will have probably a point if you're using spot color where you'll need to convert it to process color. And that's what you will be working on for this project coming up. So we need to know how to convert a spot to process color. So oftentimes a spot matching, Pantone matching system color is requested when creating a process printed piece. To save money, the spot color should be evaluated to see how it will look if printed in CMYK. You can also order a proof for that too. While some colors can be simulated well, there are many that are outside the possible color gamut for that process and will look quite different. As the quality of the resulting color conversion is very subjective, the designer can make decisions using the Pantone Color Bridge Guide as well as the Pantone Extended Gamut Coded Guide. Most Adobe programs can convert spot to process right within the program itself, and that's what I'm going to show you today within your project that you're going to be doing for your assignments this week. So this is one of the ways that you can check out the color books within your, I believe that this is in Illustrator here. Yes. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go find the Pantone color, you're going to copy the color code and find it in Illustrator. So you can go up to the window and choose swatches, and then from there, the drop-down menu, you can choose swatches and then choose Open Swatch Library. This will actually open up your color books, and you'll see your Pantone coded, solid coded books in here. So it'll be represented by the letter C, again, next to the number that it's with. If it's uncoded, you'll see the letter U. So it's kind of, you can see the visual on the right there. It's showing you how to access that in Illustrator. So your color books are all there. Pantone matching system isn't the only process, the only spot color way to go through your process. You can see you have the HKSs and all the other processes on the top of the Pantones. So those are other processes that you can use as well. It's not just Pantone for your spot colors. But typically in the industry, as you know, when you are working as a graphic designer, the Pantone matching system is the way that you're going to go for the spot colors. It's pretty much the industry standard. Okay, so now that we kind of went over some of the things in regards to that, I'm going to take a 5-minute break. We'll get back to the demo for your assignment 2. We'll get started with that. I'll kind of get you, show you kind of some things to be aware of in this project. I think once you kind of get started with this, it'll be easy to go into your assessment and go forward with that. So we'll take a 5-minute break, and then we'll get started with your demo here. Okay, looks like we're a little bit past the 5 minutes here, so let's get started with the assignment 2 logo color theme. So for this assignment, you will create 2 color themes for the Aqua Excursions logo, one utilizing 2 colors, the other utilizing 3 colors. Okay, so you're going to be downloading the black and white Aqua Excursions logo, and I'll show you where that's at. You're going to utilize the Pantone colors to create 2 different color combinations that are effective solutions for the kayak industry. You're going to create 2 sets of boxes and fill each box with your chosen color. Duplicate your swatches and convert the colors to CMYK. You're going to apply the CMYK values of each theme to the black and white logo you downloaded. That's the first part. So basically, I'll show you kind of how to set that up. I had some confusion in the past over this. So if you're listening to the recording, hopefully this will clarify everything that you need to do. There's a part 2 to this. Don't forget, you have to have a written rationale, and this is basically a written 150 to 200 word rationale in Word that explains the reasons why you chose the colors in each theme. So that's why it's kind of important to do your research, okay? So basically, I would start this out by first looking up some kayak companies here. So maybe do like a Google image search. And just type in maybe kayak brand logos and do an image search here. Now, you might find some stuff that's a little crazy in here, but for the most part, you get the idea of some, nice color schemes that are typical in this industry, or maybe, one that's commonly used. Looks like a lot of blues, a lot of blue and orange. You have a lot of complementary color blue and oranges, some black and yellow. So being for the most part, maybe steer clear of the pinks, fluorescent colors. I mean, there's some fluorescent colors, but not, it's basically more of the cooler colors, maybe the complementary of the blue and the yellow. But yeah, you kind of play around with that and see what you come up with, okay? So now you kind of know, okay, this is where the colors are typically used within this. There's some that are a little bit diluted, some that are more bold, but you get kind of a better idea of where, what kind of colors that you can choose for yours, okay? And then you can also talk about that. You can say, I did some research, I noticed that a lot of the colors being used or blah, 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 and you can use that in your rationale. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to go actually share the class area here, and let's go into your actual assignment so we can see the actual written instructions here. So basically, this is a nice visual here in your actual assignment instructions, because this is what it'll look like. So you'll have the first logo will be your 3 color scheme. And then your second logo will be a 2 color scheme, totally different, so 2 different ones. And then what you're going to do is you're going to choose a color scheme, and you can read through this here first. I'm not going to actually go through all that, the prompt. So for this assignment, you will create 2 color schemes, one utilizing 2 colors, the other one utilizing 3 colors. This is the part 1 that I just went over. We can take a look at this here. So you're going to download the logo here. You're going to create a new 8.5 by 11 Adobe Illustrator document. You're going to utilize the Pantone colors to create 2 different color combinations that are effective solutions for the industry. So the first one should be the Pantone colors, the first one. Okay, so this one's kind of backwards here. So you'll have the first one being the Pantone, and then this one will be your CMYK colors, okay? Okay, and then you're going to duplicate your swatches and convert the colors to CMYK. Note if it changes, if the color change is pronounced or minimal, just take a look at that. If it's pronounced, consider choosing a different color. Open the provided logo in Illustrator, copy and paste black and white into your file. Apply the CMYK values of each theme to the black and white logo you downloaded, and save your file as such. Okay. Okay, so basically the Pantone colors that you'll be picking are both of these. You're going to choose Pantone colors for both of these, but then you're going to convert them before you actually save them out. So that was a little bit of a different instructions that I originally gave you. Sorry about that. And then the written part is here. And then when you submit them, and I'll go over this, you'll create a folder and you'll name the actual assignment as such. Put your Word document with rationale and PDF of your logos with themes into this folder. Zip the folder and upload the zip file. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at, click on this file first, the logo file. You open this up in Illustrator. This is how it'll look when you open it. Okay, so you'll see this is the black and white color, black and white logo that's given to you, and it should be outlined so that you don't have to worry about it. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to do a file new document in Illustrator, and you're going to have this to be sized, I think it said 8.5 by 11, right? Let me go back. Yep, 8.5 by 11. So 8.5 by 11. Everything else looks good. RGB is good for now. Create. And it should have another tab up here once I do that. So you can go back to this one, and this is your new one. So you're going to file save as. So this is the file that you'll be doing your 2 color combinations in. You're going to name this DES114. Oops. Assignment 2. AI file, that's good. Okay, and then you go back to your original AI file that you downloaded, the aqua logo color.ai. You're going to copy, so Command C, do a select all, which is Command A, or edit. I'm sorry. I thought it was under edit. Let's see. Where's select all? It's in gray here. I'm doing like a shortcut key, but I want to give you guys the long version of it too. It's not even up here. Let's see. It's usually under this or edit. Okay. Well, I guess copy. Select all is not shown. Oh, here it is. Select all. Sorry, guys. I'm like in another program mode in my mind here. I usually is an edit, but select all is what you need, okay? Or do a Command A and then go up to edit copy or Command C. And this is very important. Now go right over to your new document and do Command V or paste. Make sure, and I would probably, you could group this if you want before you move it. It's up to you. You have to ungroup it though before you do anything. Move it around with your selection tool. If you want to make it bigger, which I think this needs to be a little bit bigger, hold the shift key down first before you pull any of the 4 boxes out to scale bigger. Hold the shift key down and then click on the side of the box, whichever 4 corners that you want, and drag it out. And then let go of the shift key at the very end. If you don't, watch what happens. If I don't hold that shift key down, I can stretch it. And it distorts. And what happens, it no longer is the logo it used to be. It takes away from the logo because people are seeing it differently than it originally should be. You can also scale it, do a select all. You can also scale it in this way. If you want to go over to your toolbox area, toolbar, I should say, and if you hit S on your keyboard, it goes right to it. The scale tool right here is right next to the rotate tool is what you'll double click on. And you can uniformly, if you have that checked on uniform, enlarge it, a percentage, or even scale down a percentage. You can hit preview and see how that goes. And that'll proportionally scale it the way that you need it to, to go. Okay, so I'm going to do an Alt drag. I'm going to select all and do an Alt drag down. So I'm going to do a copy of that, perfect copy. And then I'm going to set up my boxes. So go ahead and take your, and you can have the fill as black, your rectangle, and just do a little rectangle, just one of them right here. Hold the Shift key down to make sure it's proportionate. And then hold down the Alt key and drag it over. So that drags a copy over. Do it again. And you can align these. If these aren't even in the middle here, you can select all of your boxes, hold the Shift key down, select each one of those, and then go ahead and center align, okay? Now I'm gonna hold Alt and I'm gonna drag this set down so that it's perfectly the same size. I'm gonna bump this up a little bit more. I'm gonna do the same thing, but I'm only gonna grab 4 of these and do an Alt drag and pull these down because this one's your 2, this is your 3, and this is your 2. 3 color, 2 color. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give them Pantone colors first, and then I'm gonna show you how to convert them. Let's see, process colors, okay? All right, so once you kind of get a color scheme in your mind, and you can even bring in your color scheme ideas on the side here, if that kind of, you know, you can take your eyedropper tool and select those colors from maybe an inspirational logo that you like. Go up to your window, swatch libraries. Okay, and you have your, this is how I showed on the slide here. Hopefully you guys can see this. Might be a little, let me pull this down. Hope you can see it here. Swatch libraries. Oh. Yeah, swatch libraries. Okay, and then you want to choose color books. And go ahead and choose the solid, let's do coated, the Pantone solid coated. And this is gonna bring up, so this will be for coated paper, all the colors that are set for the process Pantone solid coated. So go ahead and look at your color combination. You might wanna match it up with whatever you're inspired by, or just kind of grab some that you think look good together. And make it work. I'm gonna do a little bit of a darker. So this is my 3 color combination. Let's do maybe a deeper blue here. And then maybe this is like a gray. The darker gray here, okay. So go ahead and set that in gray. This one's in blue. And what you could do is get your swatches in here. So if you go to window, go to swatches, you could actually pull these swatches into, which I want you guys to do anyway. When you select those, it'll pull them in here, okay? So when you select them and then change them to, they're gonna throw them in your swatches. So I'm actually gonna delete the ones that I didn't use. Let me delete those. So I'm not confused here. Okay, so how you can tell that these are spot colors is because I pulled it from the spot color book on here, but also you can see the little swatch here. All 3 of these have that little triangle with a dot in them. So that means that they're spot colors. If they were process colors, you wouldn't see the little dot down there. Okay, so let's change this to blue, blue, and this to orange. Okay, so what we're gonna do, the top colors are gonna stay as your process colors, I'm sorry, your spot colors, but the bottom colors are gonna be converted to CMYK. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy these. We're going to do a shift select. Oops. And I'm holding down the command key. And we're going to drag them down to make a copy to the new swatch panel. Now with that first one selected, you're going to double click on it, and then you're going to choose CMYK. Now, does it look any different from the other one? Not too bad. Not too bad. So this is the CMYK color. So I'm going to drag this in here. Oh, I showed you wrong here. Hold on. Let me delete this. Okay, double click on it. Not CMYK. You're going to actually, let's see, we're going to change this up here, color type to process color. I'm sorry. So I kind of told you the wrong thing. So go up to color type, choose this drop down menu and choose process color. And you'll notice when you do that up in your swatches, the little dot will disappear. Okay, do the same thing just for the lower bottom, double click. We do need to change this to CMYK and then change this to process. That little dot will disappear, but not on the other one. The other duplicated ones stay the same. Okay, and this is just converting it from a spot color to a process color. So all the top ones are spot colors, and all the bottom ones are process colors. You're going to do the same thing, only you're going to do a 2-color combination. So let's go ahead and pick that out. Let's do like a, okay, as you're clicking, you know, all of these are kind of added in there. So you might want to delete them in here once you get to that point. Just select and delete. Select and delete. Okay. And again, this is 2-color, so not 2-color, but you know what I mean? Like this is only 2-color combination. Okay, this one, let me delete this one because that's not right. Let's make this that yellow. There we go. Okay. So these two will be yellow. I'm going to shift select and then choose the yellow one. And this one will be blue. Top ones should stay the same. They're the spot colors. But now what we're going to do is we're going to copy these. So shift select these 2 colors, drag it down next to the trash can on new document, or new swatch, I should say. You'll see a new set next to it. We're going to choose that bottom left-hand swatch. We're going to double click on it on the actual swatch here. We're going to change book color to CMYK and then type color process. Same thing here, so it's only changing that one. CMYK, process. Okay, and that's it. So you should have 2 sets of each color schemes going on here. Save this. It looks, you know, these 2 can look completely different from each other, and then when we go forward, you can choose the one that you think is better for the actual brand identity pieces. And now we're going to save it as a PDF. Make sure that you have it centered. You're not stretching the logo in any way. You have enough white space around it. Everything looks good. You're going to do File Save As, and you're going to choose PDF. And that's basically, you can choose Illustrator or smallest file is fine. Save PDF, click OK. And that's basically the file that you're going to submit for this assignment 2. Now let me open up the assignment 2 PDF that I just did. Make sure you open up your PDF, just make sure it's viewing okay. Sometimes we find out a lot after we open up the final PDF that we may not have done right. Maybe the size wasn't right. Maybe it wasn't centered properly. Maybe it wasn't aligned. You know, once you're looking at it in a final presentation, you may find things that you might not have looked at before. So this is my final presentation for assignment 2. Okay, let me know if you have any questions about that. We're going to go ahead and go forward with the assignment demos here. I'll get rid of this here. Pretty easy for the most part. Just the conversion part can be a little tricky. But if you go, you know, step by step like I did, I don't think you guys will have a problem. Oh, another thing that I forgot to point out. You want to save this as an AI file too. So you want to save the AI version, and you want to submit the AI version with the PDF. So you want to submit two files. So AI, your AI file, and also your PDF. So you're going to zip those together. And I'll show you real quick how to do that. I'm going to share my desktop. Let me hide everything here. Okay, so here's the PDF and the AI file. So you're going to select all, or just drag over to select them. And if you're on a Mac, you're going to hit Control and then click on one of the files and then choose Compress to Items. This will zip the 2 items into one file, and all you need to do is name this either just your first, maybe just your last name is fine. So this is what you'll submit. Once I unzip it, I'll see that you named your files appropriately, because they'll be still named this way, in this fashion. Okay? All right, let me know if you have any questions, like I said, but that's pretty much the gist of that. So hopefully that's clear, and nobody will have issues with conversion and all of that good stuff. Also, don't forget there's a written rationale part of that. So you'll be adding another document into that folder before you zip it, and it will be your Word file. So you'll have 3 files to zip: your AI file, your PDF, and your Word document. All right, so let's go forward here. We're going to do a poster, which is going to include one of the logos that you did for your color scheme. You're going to create 11 by 17 document using InDesign only, with a 1/8 inch bleed. Use the strongest, most viable color theme from your logo assignment this week. Create a poster that will promote the Aqua Excursion Sunset Paddle Adventure. You must incorporate the following: a final color Aqua Excursion logo. Choose your strongest color combination and create a file in Illustrator of this logo alone. Crop tightly, CMYK. Up to 2 images from the zip file, so you'll get Sunset Paddle Images view in a new window. Headline should be the Sunset Paddle Adventure. Your body copy is given to you, and that's as such, and then call to action is what you'll have in there. Let's take a look at your actual written instructions in your assignment, just so that we're all on the same page here. Okay. So go ahead and read through the background and the learning objectives for this assessment. We're going to be creating a campaign poster. So using the strongest, most viable color scheme from your logo assignment this week from assignment 2, create a poster that will promote the Aqua Excursion Sunset Paddle Adventure. Here's the images that you can download, and these are the images that you have to use. So let me open those up so you can see those images here. So we're going to download those. And then this information, the headline, body copy, call to action, you're going to actually copy and paste from here. So you're going to just highlight, copy, paste, highlight, copy, paste. Here's your project specification. So in design, you'll be doing this in 11 by 17. Your bleed size 0.125, color space CMYK, and then all the other information out here. And we'll get to all of this as we go forward here. The submission requirements are a little tricky how they're written, but I think it's pretty easy once you get into it. So I'll show you here in a second. Okay, here are right here is the images that you have that you can download and use for this submission. So obviously, if you're using a vertical poster, you're going to use a vertical image. Okay. All right. Sorry, guys, I didn't know what I was doing there. I know where I was. Okay, let's open up InDesign here. There we go. Okay, so I have InDesign open. Let me reset my essentials here. Okay, just give me 1 second here. I'm kind of pulling up something. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, I need to pick a logo that I think is going to work really good with this whole campaign and the images that I'm using here that I have been given here. And that's typically, when you're working on a project, that's what happens. Clients will give you the images that you need to use and the logo and say, go with it. And, you have to make it work. Okay, so you're going to go File, New Document in InDesign, and we're going to go 11 by 17. Just make sure you're in inches. Uncheck facing pages, you don't need that. Print's fine, number of pages 1 is fine. Start page 1, that's fine. Everything else is good. The only thing that you need to change is the bleed. So down here, and make sure your link is checked. Type 0.125, you have an 1/8 bleed, or unchecked, I should say. So that all top, bottom, left, and right are all 1/8 of a bleed. So I'm going to click OK. You want to pull anything that goes kind of to that trim edge, whether it be copy, illustrations, or images in this case. You want that to have a bleed. All right, it's taking a little while here. Okay, so your red line is your bleed. The trim line, let's zoom in here. The trim line where the printer would trim it is right where that edge of the gray meets the white. And then the purple line is your margin guides. Those don't print. Those are just for you to kind of align stuff. And you can always adjust this size. This is just the defaulted margin size. Okay, I already kind of know the picture that I'm going to use that I downloaded from the images given in the assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and take the rectangle frame tool. I'm going to start it way in the upper right hand corner where the bleed starts. I'm going to click and drag it down. I'm going to let go way at the other end. So it's already a bleed. And it's going way, that bounding box is going way outside and hitting that bleed perfectly. Then I'm going to do a Command D, which is a file place. And I'm going to find that image that I want to use. Okay, let's see here. Where's my logo? Or where's my images here? You know what? I don't think I'm going to put it in the assessment corner here. Okay. Okay, before we do this, we need to do a few things here. And I think these are set as, yeah, the TIFF. Okay. Let me go back and see if it actually gives you those steps in here. Yes, okay. So your pre-press requirements, let me go back to the instructions so you're clear on what this is all about. And in the meantime, I'm gonna open up my Photoshop while we're talking about this. Okay, so pre-press requirements, all images converted to CMYK. So we need to do that with this image before we place it. All images placed at correct resolution, 300 pixels per inch at 100%, and I'll show you how to do that. All spot colors converted to CMYK, live area applied properly, no important text or element too close to the trim, bleeds correctly implemented, and document packaged for print. All right, so what you need to do is you need to open up Photoshop before you do anything with the images being placed in there. And that's kind of what I'm doing now. I didn't have my Photoshop open. I forgot that I had to use that. So give me 1 minute, guys. This will be loaded in a second here. My computer's a little slow here, so thank you for your patience. All right, so Photoshop is open. Let me stop sharing and I'll open up Photoshop here. Okay, so basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up the image that I wanna use for my main image of my poster. Okay, and I'm zipping the images again, so I need to resave this. Okay, so the images in there that are given to you are JPEGs, okay? What you need to save them in, so I'm in Photoshop, I'm gonna go File, Open. I'm gonna open up that JPEG that I wanted that's given to you guys as one of the possibilities to use. Mine is the Sunset 6 JPEG. Go File, Open. And this is what you need to do with any of the images that you want to use. You're going to open it up in Photoshop. Once you have it, you're going to go to, somebody joining us here. Oh, we are going over the assessment. Hello. So what you want to do is you want to go up to image. You want to check the mode out because it's an RGB. So you want to change that to CMYK. Okay. And then you want to go to image size to check out the pixels per inch, the dots per inch, which is right down here. Mine's already set at 300. Now yours might be different. This is good. If it's any less than this, you want to change this number to 300, but this is good. Just click OK. And then you're going to go File, Save As, because we don't want a JPEG. We don't want a compressed file. We want to save it as a TIFF file. So right where it says Format, you want to click on that down arrow and choose TIFF. And it's going to make it a bigger file size, but it's going to be perfectly suitable for print purposes. Okay, once that's saved as a TIFF file, go right back into your Illustrator, InDesign layout here. And that bounding box that I showed you how to make, you're going to do Command D, and you're going to place that image in there, that TIFF file. Command D is a file place, by the way. So that TIFF file, this is the JPEG that I converted into CMYK high-res image here. So I want to place this file, the TIFF file, in. Okay, and it may take a little while here for the pixelation to go away. You might want to check your viewing options too. You might have it set on your display performance under view. Make sure it's at high quality display so that you can see that if it's, if it has any issues being pixelated, you'll see it right away. But mine looks pretty good. I'm going to double click on it. And right now it's at 100%. You can look up here on the preset bar up here. This is the X and Y percentage coordinates. So if this is any larger than 120, you might be in trouble. This is 100 and 100%, so that's good. If I double click on this, my bounding box turns red, and that's just telling me that this is the actual size of the image, but this part isn't showing. So I can kind of move it around with this little hand if I have extra image that I want to show, or kind of center this in a different way here. So I'm going to kind of push this to the right a little bit. There we go. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to worry about the logo. The logo that you guys created that I showed you just recently in Illustrator for assignment 2, which looks like this. You're going to choose the best color combination that you think is right for this, for the poster and going forward. I'm going to choose the top one, although I think, yeah, the 3 color combination. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this one. I'm going to do Command C. And I'm going to do a completely new document in Illustrator. Let's do 4x4 for now, and then we'll see if I need to change that. So 4 inches by 4 inches. I'm going to paste this in here. That looks pretty good. Now to make it to size a little, so it's not so wide down here, I'm going to go up to File, Document Setup, and I'm going to choose Edit Artboards. And I'm just going to bring this artboard up. Let me get my selection tool. Whoops. You can even crop it too. I'll pull this up here and then select it. There we go. Okay, so this is the bigger version. So this is the final one. I'm going to save this as, and I'm just going to name this Aqua Excursions Final Logo. And you might want to say that this is like yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to do that. Document AI file is fine, because you want the Illustrator file. And then you want to export it also out. We might not need to export it out yet, so let's just leave it as an AI file, okay? Then once we're done creating the logo that we know we're going to go forward with, we're going to go back into Photoshop. We're going to go File, Open, and we're going to open up that AI file, that logo that you just saved, which now I can't find, right? Did I save that on my desktop? Let me go back. Desktop. Here we go, right there. So File, Open in Photoshop. We want this CMYK color mode. 300 pixels per inch, that's exactly what we want. Okay. Everything else looks good. Okay. So it should look like that. So it should have this checkered background, and that's just telling me that it's transparent. So that's good. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take this and we're going to either copy, select all, copy, or we can drag it, just drag it up to this tab and drop it in here. Drag and drop. I'm going to go edit, scale. Oh wait, you know what? You know what we're doing? You know what? Forget it. Let me trash this. We shouldn't be placing it into your actual image here. We converted this image. We should be done with this. So let me close out of there. We're going to save this, but we're not going to drag and drop it like we did. We're going to save this as a TIFF file. So file save as. Once you do your size requirements and what I just did, kind of cropping it, go file save as and save it as a TIFF file. Click save. Now before you click OK, make sure that you have save transparency checked. It might be defaulted checked already. Click OK. That looks good. Okay, now we're going to go back into InDesign and we're going to place it that way. Okay, so here's my InDesign file. So I'm going to take my rectangle frame tool and I'm going to drag over just like a box that I can place this into. And I'm making it even on each side because I'm neating up each margin guide. Command D or file place is what you'll choose next to select your TIFF file logo, and it should bring it in without any white box in the background. Okay. I might want to get this a little bit bigger. It's based on the size in which you kind of placed it into that artboard. So if it's super small, you might need to go back and change it. I'm going to go to Object Fitting Center Content. That'll center my logo in this frame box. But it shouldn't be any bigger than this. This is about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, about 3.5 inches long. Some students think, it needs to be this whole size of the whole width of this page, but it doesn't have to be. It shouldn't be. You can see it. It should be well balanced with your other elements, so it doesn't have to be super big. This is about 3 inches, I believe. Okay, let's go back to your specifications and make sure we're getting all of what we need to do here. All right, so we did the program InDesign. We did a 11 by 17 document. Bleed size is about 1/8. Color space CMYK. We already went in and converted our image to CMYK. 300 pixels per inch. All spot colors converted to CMYK. We did that. Everything except for packaging it up is kind of what we hit upon. Now, go back up to where it says that you must include the following. So we have the logo in there, up to 2 images. So you can use, up to 2 images, no more than 2 images. I'm just going to use the one. I think that's fine. Headline, this is where you'll copy. So highlight, copy, go back into your InDesign file here. So this is, and take your type tool. With the type tool selected and in InDesign, you're going to draw out a type box. I'm going to do from margin to margin and do a Command V, which is paste. All right. And then I'm going to go back and do it again. And then I'll set the copy once I'm done here. Body copy is such here. So copy the body copy. Dragging in a box, just, pasting it in there. There's one more section of copy I need to grab. Okay, so this is the call to action. The call to action should be separate from everything else. Body copy, or headline and body copy should be kind of close together. But the call to action can be by itself and should be emphasized. I'm gonna pull this down here. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose a typeface that you think, you know, kind of complements the logo. It doesn't have to be the same typeface, but something that complements the logo, is readable, and is appropriate for the overall design. Let me see, I think, what did I use before? I mean, you could even go with two typefaces here. So maybe Sunset, Paddle, and Adventure. Maybe Adventure is more simple. And let me bring up my type character box here. Hold on. Type and tables character. Let's do all caps. Get play around with this. See what works. Oops. I'm going to center this and make Sunset wordage a little bit bigger here. You know, so you could do something like that where it's a little different. Sunset, Paddle, and then Adventure is separate. And you can put a line in there, you know, kind of play around with it, make it bigger, larger, whatever. Like it's a subhead, so it should be big. Or I'm sorry, it's a headline, which is a subhead. So it should be big. It could be bigger than all the rest of the other copy here. Adjust the leading. The leading is the space in between the two lines of text here. So you can see as I'm changing this is in the character box over here. It'll actually say leading. You know, I'm adjusting the leading here and the space in between. So that maybe, you know, I could take the line tool and do something cool with a line or something in here. All right, and then I can pull my colors from my logo and put them in my swatch. So I'm gonna take the eyedropper tool and just eyedropper into my logo and go up to swatches or color swatches. And we can drag this swatch into our swatch or double click. I think you can add it that way. Double click and then add CMYK swatch. Here we go. Oh, I added it twice. Let's delete that. And then do the same thing with the orange. You might need to click off of it and click on it again. Click off of it, take the eyedropper tool. You can zoom in here. And then add CMYK swatch, click OK. So you can see they're added here, the dark blue. Let me get rid of this one so I don't get confused. Dark blue, orange, and gray are the colors that my logo have in there. So I want to keep it consistent. So I'm going to do dark blue for that. I don't know, let's see what works here. I might do gray or, orange didn't look too bad. And then maybe a gray or a blue for this line. I'll make it real thin, like a 0.5. So this would be the headline. I'm going to drag this down a little bit down below here. Kind of space it out in a nice way. If you want to get rid of these lines, if you don't want to see them, go up to View, Over, Print Preview, or down here at the very bottom of your toolbar, you can go to Preview. Just hold down that selection and choose Preview. And that's kind of showing you what it'll look like without bleed and all the other stuff that you see here that's not going to print. All right, the next thing is the body copy. This is tricky in a lot of ads, and you know, especially like a magazine cover, is you'll have a full image in the background that might be darker in some areas, and the body copy is really hard to read. So there's some tricks around that. One of which is you can do a color bar. Go ahead and take the rectangle tool over here in your toolbar, not the rectangle frame tool, but the rectangle tool, and draw a rectangle, bleed it off, or you know, however you want to do it. You can give it the same color in your logo, whichever color you decide to do. You can give it transparency so you can kind of see through it a little bit. This is like a 70%, the transparency is up here. Just as long as the body copy is readable, I'm gonna bring this to the front. So object, bring to front, brings it over top of my blue square. I'm gonna select the copy and make it white. And I used a Futura typeface, so I wanna stick with that. Even though it's a sans serif, it's okay to use something like this for body copy. If you don't have a lot of body copy, it shouldn't be too bad. So I'm gonna do Futura medium. Let's try 14 or maybe, and I'm gonna center this because I have everything centered. I want to keep it consistent. So read through it, sign up for this unique experience and join us as you paddle off into the sunset. Maybe do a shift return here so that breaks. Enjoying relaxing scenery. Advanced reservations required. You might want to make that bold or italicized. I'm going to do a shift after this. So maybe just selecting this part, maybe bold. Bold condense, or even just bold. And then maybe this one's italicized. That's kind of a different emphasis there. And then I'm going to just a little, you know, try to make it spaced out a little bit where the line spacing is a little bit more spaced out here. Let's try 24. That looks good. So it's 18 points by 24. That's pretty big for body copy, but this is a poster. So you can kind of understand why it's bigger. Point size wise, we hit preview. You can kind of see it's easy to read over top of this because you have enough color contrast. It's when you read it, it reads smoothly. It's not broken in a weird way. You don't necessarily have to have this super close with the body copy. Sometimes it's nice depending on what you're doing. And if it doesn't work for the space here, then, you know, you have to, you know, as far as like the readability of it, you'll need to reconsider. You could do something like this where you're pulling this up here and then flipping the logo down here if it works. Logo might be a little hard to see here, but I can give you a tip on that here. Some of the things that you just have to try to work around. And then this is the call out information. Don't forget about that. I'm going to do this in Futura heavy and make it big. This can be a little bigger than your regular copy in here because it's a call out. So it can be a little larger. I'm going to do all caps too. So character, all caps. There we go. And again, I would probably I'm going to show you a really interesting way to deal with this readability issue. It's really hard to read here, especially the logo. So I'm going to take the rectangle tool. I'm just going to draw this. Let me see if I can see my bleeds here. Let me pull this back to normal. There we go. Draw this out so that it meets up to my bleeds. And I'm going to make this white. But I'm going to make it so that it blends from like 0% to a little bit darker white. So it's a blending. So with that in mind, let me pull this aside. I'm going to make sure that I select these two items and I go up to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front so that they're in the front of this box. Like that, okay? Then I'm just going to select the box itself only and then go over here to the toolbox and choose Gradient Feather Tool. And with that selected, with the box selected, I'm going to click not right outside of the box, but kind of inside the box a little bit and pull this down to the bottom. Oh, you know what? I have to go the other way. So I have to go down and then up. My apologies. So I'm going to make sure, you can keep doing it to adjust it. I'm going to have enough color space to be able to see the logo very easily. Okay. But you don't want to be able to see the line here. So that's why you don't want to go outside of this edge. Now, if you want to make this a little bit lighter, you can add in the bottom part, you can kind of make the transparency a little lighter so it's not as bold. So now you can see, you know, kind of, it reads definitely better. And it works for this area. I'll probably just change the color here to blue instead of black so it's all consistent. Make sure you have enough space in between each of these sections. This is okay to have together, but you don't want stuff super close to the logo if it doesn't belong with the logo, so just kind of be aware of that. I think the main thing is just making sure readability is, it's easy to read your information. Another combination of this is I could pull this up here. Let's pull this back down here. Remember, I can pull him up a little bit because I have some extra room here. Kind of like to have some more space up here, so I'm going to pull this up a little bit. Some space in between here is nice. But now I'm going to up my percentage, and then I'm going to pull this middle up because I want that to kind of go up a little bit so I could read that. And then this logo can sit up here. Okay, so that's another way to do it. Just making sure I have enough readability, and it doesn't affect the image in a way where it looks weird. You know, it's well balanced, and it's not getting any type of weird overview here of like going over his face. Now I have extra space in between here, which is nice. It's a nice break. You need that extra break in there. These two things can be a little closer together. That's fine. And then just having the logo and the visit information as a sign off, either the first or last thing that you see, is exactly what you want the viewer to do in the steps of viewing this. Okay, so you know, think about it. Pull your head, kind of sit back after you're done designing, and when you're ready to save this and you're happy with what you have, and you know, kind of take a double take and look at it again and say, okay, what's the first thing that I see? Probably the first thing that I see is the image of the background image of the guy with the canoe, which is perfect. That's the focal point. And then maybe my eye goes to Sunset Paddle Venture or the logo. That's perfect. You know, those two can battle it out, but your eye will go to either one of those, and then maybe the next one, the next step. Then goes to the body copy, and then the visit excursions as your next step. So that's the steps that you want to go. If you had everything emphasized, like aqua excursion logo was as emphasized as the headline, so maybe it's as big as the headline, and there wasn't a lot of space in between, and the body copy was huge, typeface wise, like point size wise, where it was battling with everything else. The viewer is going to look at it and be confused and not know where to look first, second, third. So that's why hierarchy, which are the scaling and emphasis of your elements, is very important in how you have it placed on there. Okay, when you're ready to save it, name it Assessment 2. Desktop, you want to save your InDesign file. And then let me go back to your instructions because this is where it gets a little tricky. Okay, so you're going to name your InDesign file as such, what I just did. You're going to export the InDesign file to a press quality PDF. Include crop marks and bleeds. Note that this is different than the print quality, okay? Let's go ahead and do that. So we want press quality. Let's go back to the InDesign file. We saved it out as an InDesign file, so now we're going to go File, Export out as press quality, not print, quality print, press quality. All right, save that to your desktop. We're all good to go. Now, before we do anything else, let's make sure we have our bleeds set up. So where it says General, you want to click on Marks and Bleeds. And where it says Marks, you want to choose Crop Marks and Bleeds only. And then bleed and slug, you want to choose use document bleed settings. You don't need registration color bars or page information. You don't need that. Just crop marks, bleed marks, and then bleed and slug, use document settings. Export. Okay, and that's going to go to my desktop, and we'll look at that in a second. But while that's kind of converting, we're going to go back to your specifications here. Okay, and then you're going to package the InDesign file and zip the package folder InDesign creates. Note, make sure that there are no errors in the report. If there are, fix them, replace for submission. I'll show you that. You're going to submit the quality PDF with the file name as such. And then you're going to also submit the zipped folder. You can actually put the PDF into the zip folder. So I'll show you in a second here. Let me go back. Okay, so when you save that as a quality press PDF, now you're going to go File, Package. And what we're looking here is are there any errors? If there are any errors, it would show at the very bottom of your document, there's a little green button you see down here on mine. It says no errors. That would actually be red, a red dot instead if there's errors. And errors would be, you know, if the fonts aren't linking right, if you have a font that you're using and it's not linked to your computer, and images, if you're using an image that may be elsewhere on your computer, is trying to sync it and link it, that's where the problems would begin. Okay, here's the summary, so you can see all the fonts being used, linked images, colors, you know, all that good stuff, fonts. Links and images, make sure it's CMYK and TIFF files are shown here, no JPEGs and no Pantone spot colors. This all looks really good. Just hit package. And once you hit package, this is gonna ask you for printing instructions. You can just continue, you don't have to actually do that. The next thing that you need to worry about is where you're gonna save it. So I'm gonna save mine to the desktop. And it's already kind of named folder, so that's good. You want all of this checked. The only one that you don't want checked is include PDF, because you already have a PDF that you're going to include in there that you created. Everything looks good. Click package. And then once you're done packaging it, let me close out all of my stuff here. Let's go take a look at what we downloaded on our desktop here. I have lots of stuff in here. Okay, so here is the folder. That I packaged. So it's assessment 2, my folder. It has my InDesign file in there, the original one, the fonts that are linked in there, the links, which are my images that I use. Remember this, the kayak image, and then my logo image are used in there. The only thing I don't have in here is that PDF that I created. So I want to first open up this PDF just to take a look at it, make sure the bleeds are right. Okay, so this looks pretty good. You can see the both bleed marks, the crop and the trim line are bleed and trim are marks. There's double marks in there and everything looks pretty good. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and plop this PDF right into this folder. You can either plop it in here or in this open box here. Just as long as it's in this folder. I open this folder up, it's in there. See the PDF's in there? And I'm good. So now all I have to worry about is uploading one zip folder. So I'm gonna hit Control click or File compress. And then this is the file that you would submit for assessment 2. Okay. Okay, so just, I guess the big things are, you know, just make sure you convert everything appropriately to CMYK. You have, you know, high-res images that you're changing to 300 pixels per inch if it needs to be changed. That you're doing the logo import correctly by opening it up once you're kind of done and you finalize the one that you want to go ahead with. Open it up in Photoshop, save it out as a TIFF before importing it into InDesign. And then making sure everything is in your poster that's provided here, but also readable. And you're not scaling, or I'm sorry, distorting any type of images or your logo. You're not distorting anything. I have a lot of that usually, so I want to make sure that you're aware of that, and you want to make sure that you're not doing it. All right, so that's pretty much what needs to be done for this week. If you're having issues with the color combinations and with the images that you're using for your poster, that might mean you need to change your color of your color scheme for your brand before you go forward. So make sure that it works before submitting your assignment 2 or assessment 2. Okay. All righty, and that's pretty much all that I have for you guys today. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm here, so I will be here tomorrow for those of you who are in the section that have the multi-session going on from, it's super early tomorrow. So, make sure that if you need that extra time with me, you can pop in and say hello, and I'll be in there. If you're Eastern time, I think it's 8 to 10. If you're Mountain time, it's 6 to 8 a.m. tomorrow. And then the other section's multi-session is on Thursday. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. And let me know if you have any questions. Go for it. I'll see you guys in the discussion boards, and we'll go from there. Have a great day.